My brothers and sisters in Christ, today the Church celebrates the memorial of Our Lady of Sorrows, a beautiful image of Our Lady that is quite different than the normal, more triumphant tone titles such as the Queenship of Mary and one such as that, but one that is equally powerful to our understanding of Our Lady and her place in our own walk of faith. What many don't know is this memorial of Our Lady of Sorrows is actually a kind of a modern centralization of a couple of different feasts that organically developed over time that were dedicated to similar themes, that when the liturgical calendar was cleaned up, we were left with just this one memorial under the title of Our Lady of Sorrows. One of the feasts that contributed to it in time was actually known under a slightly different title, Our Lady of Compassion. In some ways, this was a highly fitting title in and of itself and helps give special insight to the true meaning of this feast. Certainly, as human beings who suffer, we understand the concept of sorrows, and we know that Our Lady had sorrows. And yet, out of the sorrows is her compassion, and it is this that is so important to us. The very word compassion, when we look at the etymology of it, is the definition to suffer with. We throw the word compassion around very loosely in modern days, but it literally means to suffer with another person. To have compassion isn't to pity, it isn't to understand from afar, but it's to stand in the very place of suffering with someone, to suffer with them. And this begins to give insight to the beautiful role of the Blessed Virgin Mary. There are actually two options for the gospel on this day. The first option comes from early on in the Gospel of Luke, when Simeon tells the Blessed Virgin Mary that the child that she holds is destined for the rise and fall of many nations, and that her heart, a sword shall pierce. It's this little parenthesis section in the line that seems mysterious. And yet it is the sorrows that the Blessed Mother suffers, not just generally throughout the life of Jesus, but particularly at the cross. The sword that pierces her heart as she suffers with her Son. And this gives insight to the other option, which is from the Gospel of John, the moment when standing at the foot of the cross, the words that are the basis of the beautiful sequence and hymn, the Stabat Mater, that we optionally hear today, that start in English with "at the cross her station keeping." As she keeps her station at the foot of the cross with the beloved apostle, Jesus says, "Behold your mother, woman, behold your son." And in this moment, the sorrow of the Blessed Virgin Mary, who, unlike the others, flee from the horror of the cross, we can believe that none knew greater sorrow at seeing her son tortured and killed. No one's sorrow was greater than his mother's, and yet where the others fled, she kept her station. She suffered with him, even though she was not physically hung on a cross. She suffered, and her eyes never left her son to his last. And as he bestowed her, handed her to the beloved apostles, said, "Behold your mother, woman, behold your son." From that day on, she was with the church. When they were afraid in the upper room, the Blessed Virgin Mary was with them. Throughout the life of the early church, her witness was with them. And as she has been assumed into heaven and is Queen of heaven and earth, she never ceases to be with us. She is with us in our joys. She constantly leads our gaze to remain on the cross, whose exaltation we celebrated yesterday. But yes, she is with us too in our sorrows. Others may abandon us, others may flee, but not the Blessed Virgin Mary. She suffers with. She has compassion. She is with us. And yet, with a mother's love and a mother's comfort, she is with us in our sufferings and directs our gaze back to the cross, the source of our hope. She isn't just with us in suffering, but is constantly reminding us of the place of our hope and the springs of new life. Blessed Virgin Mary, Our Lady of Sorrows, suffer with us, be with us, pray for us.